Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to talk to you about 4 wrong reasons to sue your present or former employer and 2 reasons that are actually legitimate to file a lawsuit against that employer. And the purpose of this video is to help you decide whether you, in fact, should be pursuing a case against your present or again former employer. So let's talk about the wrong reasons first. Wrong reason number 1. I so often hear potential clients say, I don't care whether I win or lose. I don't care if I get any money. I just want justice. There's a problem with this statement. And I understand where this sentiment is coming from. People watch movies, people hear stories. The word justice sounds so beautiful, so good in theory, but in practice, the only remedy you can get in any type of employment case is compensation. More or less compensation for your damages, for your past wage loss, for your future wage loss, for denial of future career opportunities, for your emotional distress, for stress and anxiety that the whole situation caused you. There's not much else you can get beyond that. In some limited circumstances, the court can compel the employer to do something or not to do something, but that's very rare. In general, compensation is what you get in those types of cases. There is no other type of justice. So I'm not sure what people usually mean when they say justice in employment cases and in most other civil cases, maybe all other civil cases. Wrong reason number 2. I don't want them to get away with it or do the same that they did to me to someone else. If you're planning to sue a large company that has thousands of employees, this type of reason is completely pointless. If that company has dozens or hundreds of managers, I assure you that they have dozens of cases filed against them probably every year. Your case is not going to make a difference between how large that organization is, how many cases they have, and how much turnover they have. Even at the high level among their management, you are not going to teach them a lesson. But even if you're planning to go after a smaller company, that should not be your goal. You should really consider being more selfish. You should ask yourself the opposite question. How is this case going to benefit me? Am I going to get more out of it than I'm going to spend? Is me spending my energy, my emotion, and my time, and me dealing with my own lawyer and the opposing lawyer, is it going to be worth the potential outcome? In some cases it is, in some cases it isn't. But again, you should be thinking about how pursuing that case is going to benefit you, know how it's going to hurt the other side, the opposing side. Wrong reason number 3. I don't care if I win or lose. I just want them to feel the pain. Again, if you're dealing with a large company, your case, however big you think it is probably not going to cause much pain to that company. If you work for Microsoft, Costco, Walmart, some large university, and if you sue them, guess what? They have many, many other lawsuits going on. They have a separate budget dedicated to litigation. They probably have a large insurance policy that covers all of these expenses. So they don't really care. Your manager is certainly not going to pay out of his pocket, even if he did a bunch of bad things to you. And they're probably, well, most likely, they're not going to apologize to you, even if it's proven that what they have done wrong. So what pain are they going to feel? Probably none. Again, if you deal with a smaller employer that you're planning to sue, their pain should not be your concern. I understand the temptation for revenge, but revenge should not be your goal. Your best revenge by far, if you've been fired lawfully or unlawfully, is getting a better job than the one you've been fired from, to show to yourself and to the world that that firing was a blessing in disguise. Making them suffer by dealing with lawyers, by paying their attorney's fees, if it doesn't benefit you, is not a good revenge. Wrong reason number 4. A number of lawyers told me my case isn't worth pursuing, but I don't care. I believe in my case and I'm just going to pursue it on my own without representation. Although lawyers make mistakes sometimes, or maybe even more often than that, and they don't always correctly evaluate the case, they're not always patient enough to listen to their potential client. If 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 lawyers, 10 experienced lawyers who have been around for a decade or longer and who have been dealing with similar cases over and over, if all of them tell you that your case is not worth pursuing, it's very, very likely that they're right. The problem might be that none of them explain to you in plain, simple terms why they believe your case is not worth pursuing. And that's why you're so frustrated. Everybody tells you no, but nobody tells you why. It's very important that you find someone who will explain to you why your case might not be worth pursuing in their opinion. And if you have to pay a few $100s for this to be explained in a full consultation, you should do it before you decide to do the second part of this mistake in this wrong reason number 4, and that's pursuing your own case. This is never a good idea. Filing and handling an employment case is hard enough for us, for lawyers, because there's so much to know. There's so many things that can go wrong. There's so many things that are inherently unpredictable. Sometimes they make our work fun. Often they make it more challenging, and most often both. But what happens in 99.9% of the cases where people file their own cases is that they start doing the work on their own. Then at some point, they feel like they're in over their head, and then they start looking for a lawyer. And even if they do have a case, they will have a very hard time finding a lawyer to step in when there is some kind of deadline approaching, or there is some kind of dispositive hearing, such as motion to dismiss, or some kind of motion to compel discovery responses. Very few lawyers want to deal with it, and if they do end up telling you that they will be ready to step in, they're going to charge you a lot, and there's simply no benefit in it. Again, if a bunch of lawyers tell you that your case is not worth pursuing, they probably have a point. All you have to do is to ask one or more of them to explain to you in a way that you will understand why your case is not worth pursuing. There are so many things out there that are unfair that employers do, but only few of them are illegal. Often this distinction alone, understanding this distinction and applying this distinction to the facts of your situation, can help you make the right decision. Now, let's talk about the right reasons to pursue a case against the employer. Right reason number 1: I've been treated unlawfully. I lost significant wages, future career opportunities, and the situation caused me a great deal of pain. Hey, if you have evidence of discrimination, retaliation, of not being paid a lot in wages when you should have been paid those wages, if you have evidence of egregious conduct, if you have witnesses who witnessed that unlawful conduct toward you, whether it's discrimination, harassment, retaliation, if you have emails that make the employer look really bad, if you've been working for that company for a long time and you've been doing a good job, and if you have other aspects of your case that make it a compelling story, in addition to having the unlawful impact, by all means, you should consider pursuing it, because it is likely to result in getting you significant compensation, as well as some kind of moral and mental closure of seeing that there is accountability what was done to you, which was wrong. Reason number 2, which is somewhat related, usually both of these reasons go together. I spoke with one or more attorneys about my situation, my potential case, and they told me I have a case worth pursuing, which they would be happy to take on. Hey, if you have the opposite situation, if a bunch of lawyers tell you that you have a case and they would be willing to pursue it for you, then you're in a driver's seat. Then all you need to do is to decide which lawyer you should be going with, and you should be looking at the whole picture, not only their fees, but also their knowledge, who they are, their personality, their track record, their references, and so forth. Again, usually reason number 1 and reason number 2 go together. And if you have a good case, Many lawyers will want to represent you no matter how busy they are. So keep these wrong and right reasons in mind when you are trying to decide whether to pursue a case or not, and it will really help you make the right decision. Too many people tell lawyers that they don't care what they think. They're going to find a lawyer who's going to pursue that case for them, despite hearing no over and over from a bunch of lawyers. Eventually, they find a lawyer who either doesn't know what he's doing or he's unscrupulous enough to simply charge and take advantage of that client while knowing that he doesn't have a case, to only a year and $50,000 later for that client, for that person to call someone like me back and say, I should have listened to you. I should have listened to all these other lawyers. I spent all this time, I spent all this money, and now my lawyer tells me I don't have a case or my case have been dismissed. There is rarely, if ever, a guarantee in any employment case that you will win. That's one reason why most of them settle. But you surely want to have at least 50-50 chance of winning, and preferably more. You want to have a greater than 50% chance of proving your case before you dive into litigation and before you file that lawsuit. Thanks for watching. Until next time.